Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We have a lot of slides, so we're going to get right to it. I appreciate you all coming. Thank you for being here today. I'd like to talk to you about two grants that are ongoing right now. The Egyptian Antiquities Conservation Project, which we call the EAC, and the Annual Program Statement, the APS. And I just wanted to remind you as we go through these as members and supporters and also taxpayers, these are your projects, so you should be very, very proud of them. So let's get started here. Let me explain first about one of the most important factors of the project. That's the Luxor ARCE Data Management System, or DMS. All of our records and documents are stored in the DMS. Not only are the manpower and supply of data stored in the DMS, but all conservation and archaeological materials and documents, photographs, correspondence are stored in the DMS. This is really our record for all our work that we've done in our projects. And we hope someday to hook it up to the website, the ARCE website. Imagine how difficult it is to coordinate around 1,000 workers in the field, taking attendance, paying their wages, and coordinating this with accounting. We have a dedicated staff, and they perform their tasks perfectly. We've had no problems doing this so far. First, let me update you on the EAC project. Very little work was performed this season, but the laboratory is attracting missions who find the convenience of working in a controlled atmosphere beneficial. Our lab manager, Hakeem El-Badawi, is still hard at work tracking inventory, performing quality control, conducting conservation experiments, and supporting missions. We had several missions work in the lab this season. Our lime slaking operation is still very much active and has even attracted mission requests for this lime mortar ingredient. In finishing up the EAC, signage was installed in front of the temple along with two directional signs. I'm going to go on this side this time. There's a directional sign and there's the temple sign. And these signs were made of stainless steel and were also made in Cairo, in Egypt. The photography group has evolved from a field school to a full-fledged photography department. Two of our trainees have now become staff members. The photography department meets all challenges to get the best photo. And now on to the APS, where USAID and ARCE have made a major impact on the local economy. ARCE performed site improvement projects by hiring local individuals for 18 continuous months. Mood Temple suffered from weed infestation, as you can see here, and a stagnant lake. With 120 workers, ARCE removed the weeds and placed a liner, as you can see here, to stop the regrowth. The result is a weed-free environment with little maintenance required. The lake also suffered with stagnation and odors. ARCE drained and cleaned the lake and set up a periodic pumping down program where the groundwater that feeds the lake keeps it refreshed. Other improvements include new pathways and sandstone paving. Mastabas were also included for some of the loose stone, solar-powered security lighting, and signage. The site is now open to visitors, and we appreciate the assistance and help of Brett O'Brien and the Fazzinis for helping ARCE in making the project a great success. They assisted in many aspects of the project. This is the plan on your left, showing the new pathways, and on your right is the mastaba. The ISIS temple of Deir Shawid is also open for visitors. ARCE employed approximately 75 full-time workers for 18 months. In that time, we prepared the exterior by installing a parking area, as you can see here, pathways, And we also capped the remains of the enclosure wall, installed a sandstone ramp, installed a mastaba for visitors, and fabricated and installed 2 signs. This is the enclosure wall and the entrance, the ramp. At the Karnak Temple Complex, ARCE performed many improvements. Among this includes installing a wall at the Sheikh Ali structure, shown here on the left, and also sandstone paving at the Hypostal Hall in the Kansu Temple. Here we have Rais Mahmoud posing with some of the new sandstone slabs. Several mastabas were also installed. This group is between the 8th and 9th pylon. Our biggest job creation project is in Korna. Here we remove the debris and remains from the demolished structures. We have an average of 500 workers currently that we've provided steady jobs, again, for over 18 months. Our target completion of the program is at the end of April, so we're just finishing up our work. We also are in the process of installing limestone pathway borders that will better display pathways for the tourists. Here you can see them here. Per the request of both the ministry and the Chicago House, ARCE is currently modifying and heightening a modern security wall made from mud brick in Medina Habu. We have approximately 140 workers who make and install the brick. Now on to our conservation program. ARCE Luxor has had a continuous conservation training program since 2007. As with all our field schools, the training starts out with lectures on important topics and also focuses on the current projects at hand. Khadija Adam is a conservation manager, and she is active in all phases of training and activity. The conservation program starts out with the photography department recording the area of focus with before photographs. This records the current visual condition of the area. The photo is then traced by the student to obtain a master tracing. This tracing is then photocopied into many copies so that the condition of each layer can be documented and recorded according to industry standards. Here we have the trainees in the ISIS temple performing their work under the supervision of ARCE supervisors. You can see the black color, especially on the upper panel in the left-hand slide. The work revealed not only beautiful colors, but chair and clothes patterns not seen in centuries. This is the part that I think is most remarkable, is the patterns, not just the color. TT 110 is a special case, not only because the tomb owner was a royal butler to both Hatshepsut and Thutmose III, but because of its bad condition. And why would ARCE choose such a tomb to conserve? It is because it's in such bad condition is why it was chosen, because if you're going to train conservators, you want to train them in some of the worst conditions. So we also do the same documentation procedures as you can see on the right, and this is a partial scene of Thutmose III in the sitting position. TT 110 suffered from a severe fire, and the heat ruined the vibrant colors. However, by consolidating and stabilizing the loose plaster and paint, the background areas are currently being cleaned to reveal the long hidden scenes and inscriptions. It's more of a contrast. Again, it may not be vibrant in colors, but utilizing such things as ultraviolet photography, we're able to show a contrast so that the scenes are revealed. These are both the same panels. One is before and one is after. This is also a before and after photo of one of the two steles at the end of the transverse hall. In cooperation with the archaeology staff, the conservators work hand in hand, assisting in such things as first aid to certain objects and also storage and packing. It's a good teamwork effort. One of the newest field schools, the first field schools that we did, was a statue conservation and reconstruction field school held at Moot Temple. 2 statues was conserved and reconstructed under all Egyptian team with the conservation manager, Khadija Adam, along with the sculptor, Professor Muhammad Shahada. The trainees learned about stone preservation and reconstruction using artificial stone. This is a Sekhmet statue as found. And this is a Sekhmet statue after. Although several parts were found within the base, the missing parts were sculpted using plaster. With this part sculpted, a mold was then made where the artificial stone could be molded and placed. All reconstructed areas has a color difference and are sunk below the original stone surface to differentiate between the natural and artificial. All of the artificial components added are completely reversible. As with any of our conservation efforts, the statues were fully documented with condition maps, reports, and photographs. After dismantling, each part was carefully cleaned with the old cement patches being removed and the stone stabilized to stop any further deterioration. The statues were then put back together and the artificial parts were then molded and placed. Here is the before and after photo of the other statue, that of a king, a royal statue. Archaeology has played a major role in our job creation and cleanup work in Gordon. Field managed by Andrew Bednarski, the team consists of 7 ERA-trained archaeological supervisors and 2 ERA-trained specialists. Their role is to document the remaining features and record the small object finds. All of this information, by the way, is placed on the DMS, as previously mentioned. I won't go into too much detail here, as you heard Andrew Bednarski report on this specific project, but some interesting finds, both modern and ancient, were documented for further study. Here we have a Roman terracotta figure on the left and painted plaster remains on the right. The specialists played a major role in the overall study of the area. On your left, Mohammed Naguib, our ceramicist, is recording and classifying the Gorna pottery and is establishing a corpus for future reference. On your right is our osteologist, Afaf Wahba, who, for example, has determined that the remains found in the clearance of TT 110's Pillared Hall represent over 30 individuals. Part of the archaeology scope is to secure some of the tomb's entrances. ARCE fabricates the doors and has a mason install the structure to secure the door. Also, mapping the position of TT 110 and other tombs along has been accomplished with our tireless surveyor, Mohammed Abdel Basit. TT 110's original entrance has never been accessible in modern times. Our archaeological team's mission this season was to expose the original entrance so that visitors could access the tomb. A stairway was fabricated to meet the existing contours of the excavation. During the clearance, many objects were found. As you can see what Andrew had shown you before, but this is, they just are finishing up this just a few days ago. This week we finished this set of stairs. Part of the job creation program was to perform needed maintenance in several areas. The air conditioning system at the Karnak Visitor Center is in bad need of repair. Well, it doesn't work really. ARCE is in the process of fixing the system as well as looking at other visitor center maintenance items such as lighting. Even little issues like trash dropped by visitors in the temples was addressed. ARCE designed and built a combination trash receptacle and ashtray. These could have been purchased easily, but in the spirit of job creation and matching the temple surroundings, 75 receptacles were built with the ARCE workforce and distributed throughout the temples. As you can see on your right, we made sure that all of them were branded at the bottom. ARCE is focused on recycling as part of their program. Intact mud brick from corn has been used in many areas, including temporary retaining walls for the TT-110 forecourt clearance. And the broken mud brick debris is from corn that's been used to create new mud brick. The old mud brick is on your left, and you can see that they're starting to make the new mud brick. Here is shown our operation outside of Medina Habu, where we are using the newly fabricated mud brick for the south security wall. It fits in perfectly with the job creation scope. Using scrap sandstone debris from a Chicago house project, ARCE used the material in the facade of the small building, shown here on your left. It's at Dar al-Shawid, and also to create an exterior floor outside the structure. We used the scrap sandstone in this area here. Many piles of limestone chippings from missions in the area in Gorna were prevalent. ARCE staff created a screen to isolate certain aggregate sizes. These were then used in Dar al-Shawid to construct the parking and pathways. Here on your right is the parking area in progress, made out of the selected crushed aggregate stone from Gorna. Constructing buildings in a potentially archaeologically sensitive area can be challenging. With the help of the ministry, ARCE developed and built a surface-mounted foundation for the small building that you saw in the previous slides at Dar al-Shawid. No major excavation required as in traditional foundations. We're hoping that the ministry will consider this design when anticipating a small building at other archaeologically sensitive sites. One of our most proudest achievements is the installation of solar-powered lighting, which our house engineer, Magdi Mokhtar, designed. With constant power outages, we installed self-contained security lighting at all of the 3 major sites. We also installed solar backup power in the ISIS temple, placing the solar panels on the roof. When the power goes out, the solar power automatically takes over until the grid power is restored. To improve on the application further, a motion sensor was installed in the ISIS temple, which automatically turns on the lighting when a visitor arrives. When the visitor leaves, the light automatically turns off. We also installed light sensors to new lighting on the existing security wall in the exterior, and when the sun sets, the lights automatically turn on, and when the sun rises, the lights turn off. We use all low wattage LED lamps. And whenever possible, we still use the solar tube lighting that requires no cables, batteries, and needs little maintenance, pure filtered sunlight. I'm not going to read this list, but this is basically a quick review of our major accomplishments. They're quite substantial, 1,000 workers working for quite a while. And I'll just mention that these 1,000 workers represent 1,000 families, because we have certain criteria that we use for our workers. For example, we use 1 per household. You know, sometimes you have a lot of brothers in the same household, but we only use 1 per household. And the other thing we've done is, unfortunately, there's students. We have decided that we weren't going to take any students because we know that they can go back to their house. So we try to affect the families as best as we could. and also the businesses. But this is really the real picture right here. Providing temporary jobs not only assists the workers and the family, but also impacts entrepreneurs like this gentleman here who's selling food and tomato to the workers. This is the impact of our work in action, of your work in action. None of this would have been possible without these following people here on this list. I really appreciate it, and I'm open to any of your questions.